time to pack up our excuses of why we are not successful property investors out there in the world, because we have a guest and this is proper investor story. Her name is Marce. She immigrated to Australia from Colombia with absolutely nothing, and she has built a property portfolio to 4 properties already, and she is on less than $100,000. There is no silver spoon. There is just nothing but grit, determination, and a lot of goal setting, a lot of strategic investing, purchasing that she has done here. And it's an incredible story. I love these investor stories because it kind of makes me feel like, what the hell am I doing? Why am I not pushing this as hard as I can? And a bit of a kick up the ass. These sessions are incredible, so dive straight in. Hey everyone, my name is Joe Tucker, and together with Jeff Miles, we created Oz Property Investors. We just hit 80,000 members, so throw a like or a comment in there just for that alone. We also created the Level Up Property course, which is teaching everyday investors how to buy investment grade properties in investment grade locations so that you can build a passive income to $150,000. And Marce is well on her way to that exact number. She is an absolute killer, absolute weapon. Pack up your excuses, chuck them in the bin, because she is going to let you know that whatever you've got, it's not going to be as hard as what she's had to go through. Let's jump in. Enjoy the show. Was there any advice out there that you didn't take and you're glad that you didn't? Was there any holy crap, back in retrospect now, that is
Joe?
terrible advice? I don't know. Maybe. If there's not, that's fine as well.
I heard a lot of people are investing here, investing there, especially in hot markets. Yes, you can get great growth. Don't get me wrong. If I wouldn't be a PR and I wouldn't earn 100K, mate, do not hesitate twice. I wouldn't be there. But we have to remember that investing, it needs to be tailored to your own circumstances and own household. It's different what you earn, what I earn, my risk appetite, and a lot of things. That's why when you invest, you have to invest for yourself and what is your all things like your why, etc. So I'm glad that I didn't take some of those advice, like why I shouldn't invest in certain areas that I did. And then I was a little bit patient. Yes, maybe I leave money on the table because I couldn't stomach 30, 40K extra pay for a property that now it wouldn't cost 80. But look, I'm still getting very decent growth that is going to get me now with the same amount of money last year. I'm getting it now to my second and my third property. That, you know what I mean? It doesn't defeat the purpose. And sometimes when we speed too much, we forgo about the fundamentals. And I'm trying to be as fundamental as possible. Maybe call me granny, maybe call me oh, yes, you should do better. But I know that I'm not racing against anyone. I'm racing against my own self. And that doesn't mean that I'm obviously conform with sort of whatever. But at this stage in my own circumstances, with my own visa condition, with my own salary, that if I had the option to change it, obviously I wouldn't change it. Come on, who doesn't want to earn more money?
If you'd have listened to people, you still have gained close to 200K plus. So what with that deal, did you what was it renting for, and how did the negotiation go? What did that unpack as much or as little the detail? But I just want to give a bit of flavor because I'm sure you absolutely nailed it. But
well, sorry to disappoint you, but that's our PPOR. So no rent.
Okay.
That's our PPOR.
Cool.
Okay. I like that though.
It was really hard to find a rental. I thought that I have to go and sleep in a hostel, and then my partner's like, no, let's join forces, whatever. We thought that we overpay because we got another buyer that he put cash offer, but because he was bringing from overseas and he couldn't get it quicker enough, the real estate agent goes can you top up a little bit to this price to get it? And And my partner do not hesitate to do that, and bam, because it was the emotional, like PPOR sort of home buyer. And I'm like, yeah, well, we got one. So yes, that's what it happened.
By that
And
time,
we thought, yeah.
by that time, you had this investor lens on. So like, did you look at it from an investment perspective as well as a PPOR perspective? And how did you marry those? Because I mean, a lot of the times it doesn't really work out when people go investment and PPOR. And did you have that investment lens, or was it like, cool, rent's expensive, let's find a place. This looks like it stacks up. Like, let's do it.
I think it was a little bit of both, because as an immigrant, very proud to be one, I always see the necessity of a rental. And I'm like, what is it going to be if it wasn't me in the next 3 or 4 years? A family won't come to here. It wouldn't be easier to find like these sort of couples of friends that are going to rent this place out. And it's such a huge market, especially in my community, in Colombian community, that they wouldn't like to rent a place where we're going to live at the moment. You know what I mean? So yes, in the moment I was start like, oh, I need to like, every purchase that I'm going to go like this purchase. It can suit like a family. This purchase, it will suit like, my migrant community. They will have like that sort of like market. And yeah, that's how I think by then Adelaide will boom. And actually I said it to my partner. I said like, look, Adelaide become the new Melbourne, because when you come from overseas to study, they obviously like spoke you a lot, like Melbourne, Brisbane, Sydney, hey, come, Australian dream. And I'm like, this is oversaturated. Adelaide is gonna be the next one to bring migrants and pairs, because it was a lot of room in terms of visa, like nomination, like location, about nominations, about to get PR. And trust me, when you move people, and we are not talking about few, we're talking about heaps, and also by overseas people and internal as well, you can see the booms. And I wasn't as educated maybe, and I didn't have a lot of metrics that I got now. But for me, that like isolated metric, it was like strong enough for me to go.
Yeah, the fundamentals were there. The macro people, there is a bazillion people coming to this little area, and I don't see enough buildings to support these people because they're already full. What do you think's going to happen?
Yeah.
And sometimes like back of napkin data, right?
Yeah, and not only
not
only the overseas people was moving, it was my Australian friends. That's what it got me, because Australians usually the ones that I met in that moment, they didn't want to move, and when they forced it to move, I was like, oh, this is interesting. They're moving, so damn.
Somebody said, could you please ask Marce how she was able to service the monthly repayments of 4 loans on a 100K salary? So the salary might be a touch more than 100K when you combine it. I mean, it's not too much. No, that's
combined. Like, but collectively, slightly above, but not like that's the thing with this. We just don't want to, say what your salary is on the interwebs.
No.
But
no.
It's
but you know what.
It's crazy, like how much you've been able to do it. But this is a good point. Like, how do you service 4 loans? How do you think about the negative cash flow? Because a lot of the time when, this day and age, when interest rates were 2%, it was like, great, positive cash flow. Now we're at 6 and it's now trending down, which is fantastic. But there is negative cash flow that property investors hold. So it's kind of gone from great, you must be so rich with property investing. It's like, well, actually now you might be in a little bit of a world of hurt. Like, how do you think about that and manage that?
She uses Deal Crunch calculator. She was actually telling me before the show, she had a look at the video. And she was like, look.
You use the Deal Crunch calc? Well, okay. Well,
yeah,
do you use the Deal Crunch calculator?
Yeah. Hang on. So that's so good. Trust me. I used to pay between $1,500 to $2,000 per month for my school. When 4 properties across the year cost me $5,000, I think between $5,000 to $6,000. That's nothing to me.
For the 12 months.
So that's how
not monthly.
For the 12 months, exactly. That's how much it cost me. All my properties, in one of the properties is $15 positive cash flow now. The other one, I'm still like, I like the girl, so that's why we haven't up there, like put the rent up, and my partner really
You like
likes
the
her.
what?
So the girl who lives there, she's
What?
really nice. She's a nurse.
You like
So
the
it's
tenant?
our tenant. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's why. But if
Yeah.
we put it up to the market value, that the rent market value wouldn't be positive. But also she's been a good tenant.
Well,
so we've been. So anyway, coming back to the point, pretty much the way that I do is like before I purchase the property, I see if I can hold it if I lose my job tomorrow. That's how the way that I thinking. Because I can happily lose my job today, like touch wood that I don't. But if I lose it tomorrow, plus all my expenses and everything, I will still be able, even if my rents can go up, to hold those properties. And that's the beauty. Like, that's it. Even if I can't buy anymore, let's say I can't buy anymore tomorrow, with the properties that I go, with the strategy that I go, with the exit and entrance and exit strategy that I go, I will be able to retire with the passive income that I want in 13 years.
It is not necessarily in an infinite borrowing capacity or unlimited, but you can, even on your sort of income of household income of that 100K thereabouts, there are ways to make it happen, but you don't want to sort of put yourself under too much stress. So
100%.
Yeah. So on that borrowing capacity, like that's a little bit maybe a personal question. I don't know. Is that personal? Let me know if it's too personal, and we can kind of just sidestep it. But
so the question is, where is your borrowing capacity now? Like, how do you think about borrowing capacity, and where's it at?
At the moment, I can buy another property if, like, I can get another loan for $350, coming up with 20% deposit with the $350, because my properties. That's the other thing, and that's the other trick that you haven't heard from me. But obviously, I use my mortgage brokers. I love them, but also I try to get I live close to a CBA and a couple banks. And what I used to do, you can't forget that investing is about human connection. So I used to go when I wasn't ready. To ask them, like, hey, what are the tricks? How can I get this borrowing capacity? How can I get this? How can I get that? What sort of like wording do I need to use? I don't speak good English, like, playing like second language. That's good. What sort of wording can I put in here to extend, obviously in a very responsible way? How can I extend this? So then you get to me like, important people within the bank, and they'll start giving you like those like golden nuggets. I know that this is not for everyone, but at the point in time, I gotta do what I gotta do, and then
it's amazing because you're going straight to the source, right? Like, who knows better than the people that are giving out the loans? Not always the case. Obviously, if you just talk to the lady at the front desk, she doesn't really know, that she's just more of a sales rep than anything. But if you can chat to the person that's in the back that looks after home loans, there's so much advice that they will give you. And then they'll be like, yeah, but off the record, the way to get around this rule is to, declare that this and this. Awesome.
So for me, it's about asking, well, how can we make this happen? And a lot of people are afraid to do that because they don't have that sort of, it's an authority figure. You go to a bank and a lot of people have that, it's money, and these people are big, scary people. It's like real estate agents, when in reality, a real estate agent is simply a person. They have bad days. They put their pants on one leg at a time. They have all those sort of hang-ups that we all have as well. And you just actually connect them, as Marce said, and say, hey, look, I'm starting on this game. I'm not 100% where I need to go, what I need to do. Like, how can you kind of, and look, and that's similar to the conversation we have about calling up people and having those conversations. Look, 9 out of 10 people say, look, mate, or look, sorry, I can't help you out today. I've got 4 meetings coming up in 20 minutes. I can't do it. But then you'll have that person who'll say, look, actually, I appreciate you asking me that question. Like, I've helped a lot of kind of investors on their journey. I really love doing that. And they'll give you the time of the day, like every day of the week. And then they'll sort of appreciate you sort of taking the time to come and see them. That's probably the person I feel you might have approached.
No, and you have to rock up with something, like they giving you the time, like give it a coffee, like show them like like, it's important, like what they giving you, because they stop like looking at other clients that are really serious for me, that they know that I'm a question questioning at all time. And then I go to my mortgage broker and I say, look, I'm not sure, but I heard about this. I look at on Facebook, can you cross path it? And I give all those worries to my mortgage broker, and then my mortgage broker do his magic. And then that's how I got the 2 loans with no lender banks or something like that. I don't know how.
Non-bank lenders, yes, third-tier lenders.
And now I got them in the major banks, because the important thing is to get in. Once when you get in, then you can navigate differently.
What is one habit you can tell a newbie? Anyway, maybe that's how you spell newbie. Doesn't matter.
Person, so someone just starting out.
Yeah, to start shaping their mindset. What is those? Remember back to 8 years ago or 9 years ago.
Look, one, I love this saying about Aaron. If you're not paying, you don't have a saying. If you're not paying for my education, if you're not paying for my path, I don't give any coins from your opinions. So you have to a lot of people knows a lot of things, but they don't know nothing. Everyone has an opinion, but they don't know what they're talking about, because we are humans trying to survive in this chaos. I understand. So, and I know that they're not doing it in a bad faith. So first thing, block the noise. If they're not paying for education, for anything about you, look, I know it's a good faith, but shut up and let me do my thing. 2, if you can't afford to pay courses or subscriptions or whatever, YouTube is a free university. You can get into YouTube and your time off. Remember the compound effect. I always said it, it's always working. So always take your extra time that you think that you don't have, but we always have to get there. I used to track everything when I just started in 2020, track my time, track my coins, track my pennies, track everything, to the point that finally I was so well aware what I was doing with all of that, because time is wealth and wealth gives you time. So it goes in both ways. So when you start tracking something, you are aware of it. And then obviously I go massively on books. So that wouldn't be the first habits that I will give it to that new person getting into this into the market, and ask a lot of questions. The worst case scenario that they would think is you're an idiot, you don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, maybe they're right. That's what you're asking. Otherwise you wouldn't ask. Don't be afraid. You're gonna have good comments, bad comments, but look, who cares? You just
getting out there and getting in the ring. I think that's most important.
This has been an unreal session, Marce. Thank you so much for sharing that. Is there anything else that you want to put out there for Australians, for migrants? Is there any message that you want to put out there for people that can help them or
This is my sort of mojo, and that's how I get up every day, and I go to my bed and I said to myself, you have everything that you need to get where you want or get what you want. You have everything. Remember, you whatever excuse that you're making not to have something, and now make the same excuse to having it. Because sometimes our brains works in that way, to tell us how we cannot do this. But if we already know how we cannot do it, now let's break it down. How can I do it? And that's how I unlocked. Sometimes being a little bit more resourceful with this and that. So you have everything that you need to get where you want to go. I always said that to myself. So I would like to put it out there. Everyone can do it in different speed, in different circumstances. Don't feel pressure because someone has 10, 20, 30 properties or have this. Remember that your journey is different than everyone else. One's like vanilla flavor, the other like chocolate. Doesn't make us different. We like the same ice cream. That's it.